Here's to Thirsty Thursdays. Ah,
Hey, how we doing, fam? Oh, a little late night edition of Thirsty Thursday. Not late night into like the early morning, but like late night for a school night. It was Luda's birthday today. We were going to do the podcast at Top Golf, but look, sometimes you just got to be in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, we'll get to that. You guys, you got your cans? Huh? I'm trying this thing called snow melt. 'Cause the snow has melted here. Yeah. All right, let's do this. You got it? Let's go. Skim, gutter, below. Oh, yeah. Now we'll see if we can hear it. This is the part where we don't know. We caught it. We caught it. All right, now that we're open, what do? We pour. We pour until we see the bubbles. Then we see the bubbles, we stop. Oh, a little bit more. There's those bubbles. We close our eyes and dream. Yeah. That's a good dream. Oh, okay. All right. Back at it. Okay. Then we pour again. A little bit more bubbles. And then probably one final pour. Then we'll get after it. Ah, there we go. There we go. Cheers, fam. That's good squishy. Yeah, can you believe it? My youngest kid is 12. What the hell? Some cliches are true. Some cliches, dude. Fam, I haven't slept a lot the last, 44 years, but like particularly the last couple of weeks, maybe even the last month. Got to get that site built and up and running. Got to work out all the regular day-to-day stuff. And then on top of that, you're trying to work the fun stuff, which is Power Slab. You know what I mean? That's the dessert of life, let me tell you. Couldn't be more excited. Headed down there. Gonna get it done. But this last week, a lot of stuff moving behind the scenes. A lot of stuff that, need to get done so we can keep moving forward as a company, as a business. But it's coming together. I would say I'm very optimistic. Look, this thing in life, it's like baseball. Let me turn up my headphones. I can't really hear myself. Hold on, fam. Check. Okay, I think that's better. That's better. What about now? Can you hear me now? Okay, much better. So yeah, there's this thing in life, fam, where it's like baseball. 3 strikes, you're out. Like life can happen and you make a decision that maybe it wasn't the best decision. Or maybe you can make that same mistake and it's on you, or maybe life happened again. But I'm here to tell you, I really believe life is like baseball, and so is business. 3 strikes and you're out. You really got to pivot if you strike out. And we don't want to pivot too hard in our life. You know, we've had 2 strikes. We're not going to strike out a third time. And with that does come some new things, some new experiences that you never thought you would go through. But one thing you learn about in life is what you think of people, or what you think of a person's situation growing up. And that's all affected with, if you grow up in a really religious community, or whatever, right? Just how you were brought up. You judge those certain people or those people in those situations. Oh, that would never happen to me because of this. Or, oh my gosh, can you believe that? I would never do, this. And you're faced with the reality of certain situations that you might have been judging others or their situation growing up, or even as an adult. Let's be real, fam. Just because you're older doesn't mean you grow as a human being. There's plenty of emotionally non-intelligent, childlike adults. Okay, you see what I'm saying? But anyway, you go through that situation, and in our particular situation, we got to reorganize some stuff. But and you feel this sense of, I don't know, stress, tenseness, a sense of failure, a sense of why, all the things, fam, all the things. But then you can't live there. You got to keep moving. We're optimists, right? And so this last week was dealing with a lot of this reorganization and a lot of like new reality. And yeah, super stressful. A lot of late nights, a lot of thoughts, not necessarily doubtful thoughts, but just like a lot of thoughts of different ways we could take certain things. And that has fed into no sleep, a lot of stress. Sometimes it's funny. It's funny. I'm not saying we're saving the world or the U.S. from what I'm about to say. I'm not making that example or saying we're just as intensely going through something like that. But I heard this. I was listening to a podcast one time, and the people to be the person that actually is, Mission Impossible, that actually is like James Bond. Those people that actually stop the nukes from going off on a daily basis, dealing with the real threats of the world, they can never be known. So you have to have this personality of you're saving the world. You're letting us all complain that our food is cold and we send it back to the kitchen. You're making this possible. You're doing the actual hard work to keep this place we call America, intact. And the only way you can keep doing it is nobody knows what you do. Kind of like some of those movies you watch, right? Dad or mom comes home from like assassinating some evil bad man, and then they're just making dinner like nothing happens. But in the movies, eventually people find out. And in real life, that's not the case. Because if it does, then, you're lost and you try and combat people trying to disagree with you, telling the world of what you've done by starting a YouTube channel and saying you're a member of the CIA. And all you're really trying to do is like write a book and sound interesting when at the end of the day, you're out now. You've been caught. You've been got. You've been named. So you can't be that person anymore. Business is like that sometimes. Now, my ego's too big to sit there and say, I didn't do anything. But I will say that in that weird example, it's kind of true though, fam. Like there's got to be something going on in the background that nobody needs to know about so you can pivot and do your thing and move on and the sun shines again and you have a new path with lessons learned that you will never make said lessons mistakes again. And although that's hard and that's tough, that now. And like I said, it's baseball. So 2 strikes, okay, but we don't strike out. We might get 2 strikes, but the Scots play baseball well. And when there's 2 strikes out, that third that you think is going to be a strike is a fucking home run. You feel me? So anyway, I couldn't be happier that even today, we won't even get into it. Fighting with wifey, the kids all over the place, blah, 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 blah. Be happier that it was my youngest son's 12th birthday. What the actual F word, fam. Wow. Some cliches are true. The time does go by fast, but I think as we've talked about on the podcast quite a bit, I don't really believe in that. I'm not really a person who looks back. However, I think it feels like it goes super fast, like boom, because you're looking back at it. I think day to day, it goes like it should. It doesn't go quick. It doesn't go long. It just kind of goes like it should. But when you look back, man, it goes fast, doesn't it? Because you've lived all those years. And so looking back, you can't look back with the same time frame, obviously. So when you look back, it's like, man, where did it go? And you know where it went. You lived every moment of all those years, all those days. But anyway, when your last kid that you're having, unless, in my case, unless wifey's hiding something, this is our last kid. It's the last rodeo. And so we wanted to make it special. Allie and I both grew up Mormon. And when you hit 12 years old in the LDS faith, it's a big deal, right? It's like a Jewish bat mitzvah or bar mitzvah, or I forget how you distinguish the girl and the boy, but it's like that. So you get the priesthood when you turn 12, and like you get brought in front of the whole congregation or parish, and they put hands on your head in a circle and they give you a blessing and they tell you to receive the priesthood, and it's like a big thing. And then you have a quasi party after where family comes over, and it's a big to do in the LDS culture, in the LDS faith. And so I think that added to wifey's stress, because how we grew up, it's like a big deal. And how we're raising Lucas, obviously it's a big deal, but there's not like I think in the back of wifey's head, it was like, should we be doing something, And so anyway, we went all out. Well, our version of going all out. Whatever he said he wanted, we got him. So we went to Top Golf, and he got to invite anyone he wanted, and he specifically only invited his brother Tim and his uncle Hayden. We call him Big Hayden. Tiny niece Allie and me, and it was great. It was so much fun. We were there for like over 2 hours, and Lucas has the most unorthodox golf swing, but it works. I'm going to make a reel about it and post it. It's diabolical. I had no idea anybody could hit a golf ball the way this kid hits a golf ball. It's so weird. Full body, eyes look up to the ceiling, full body motion. And he like swings down like he's chopping wood with an axe, and somehow that ball just sails. I think he hit one tonight at 141, 143 yards. Like, damn, kid. But it was so much fun. He's so big, man. He's just so big, and it's hard for me to remember he's just a child still. It really is, because he's so tall, and he has like these more mature skills. Like he's super into business, super into making money, super into like being creative, super hard on himself too. Jeez, if that kid could just chill, you know what I mean? But yeah, to see the youngest one getting older, maturing, different mannerisms, even his humor is a little, even his sense of humor has leveled up. When he was little, he had the shtick, he had the bits, but it just come across as actually mean. you know those people, right? They like say things and they're super honest, but it doesn't come across as anything but rude. He kind of had that when he was younger. Now he was trying to be, stay in the bit and be funny, but it always came across as like kind of rude. But and now he's loving up, and he kind of gets the nuances of humor. And that's been awesome. He gives his brother a hard time now in all the best ways. He gives me a hard time now in all the best ways. So that's really fun as he has gotten older. Another thing that's been interesting is, now he notices girls. I don't know if we can call this girl his girlfriend, but he's noticed a girl at school, and they FaceTime each other and that kind of stuff. And she got him a Valentine's gift, so that's a big deal. But that aspect is super fun too. I can tease him. I never really got to tease my older boys because of the divorce and all that. And with Lucas, with the older boys, it was extreme one way where, I only saw him every other weekend, and we were living in Las Vegas. So God bless wifey's heart. She was in the car with me every other weekend. We drive up to Utah. We drive back to Vegas on Sunday, sometimes Monday. And so I didn't have those moments with the older boys. I get them now a little bit. But with Lucas, it's a totally different ball game. I literally saw this kid almost every single day outside of like a business trip or little things here and there. I literally saw this kid every day. And then when Allie's career started to take off, and we've talked about how wifey and I, man, we're both alphas, and one of us had to like step down. That was me. And for a couple of reasons, her career started to take off. And you know what? Allie's better out in the world. And I'm better at home. That doesn't mean I didn't have certain goals and aspirations, but that's our family, man. That's our dynamic. And so once we made that full transition and I was stay-at-home dad, I was literally with this kid every day. So I've seen him grow is the point, and I've seen him progress as a human. I know his personality super well, and that part has been really not just good for me, I think, if I'm being selfish, but also just fun, man. Irritating as hell almost every day too, because shout out to my parents, right? You never know what your kid's going to say, act, or do. And in any one given day, a kid can have the full rainbow of emotions. Am I right? But overall, you get to know his personality. His heart is very good. His demeanor as well. So whether he says he's doing really great, maybe he's not, or he says he's having a bad day, but really deep down, he's just looking for, some attention, and the day is actually okay. All these little things, I can honestly say I know about Lucas. And so it's fun to watch him get older. He talks about going into junior high. Every time we pass the junior high he's going to go to, he's like, that's my school. That's my school. It's like, yeah, dog. I know. Man, but it was good. Another crazy year with the young one. Couldn't be prouder. This year he got his grades up finally. I think that has a lot to do with the teacher. But he's maturing, and he's maturing at a pretty decent pace. And as we all know, as grown folks, a lot of the things that come with us out the box stay with us, whether they're hard things or good things. And it's, as a parent, it's really cool, frustrating, awesome, horrible, loving, all the emotions to watch that so closely in a kid. And that's been really fun because I never, like I said, I never got that with the other two. So, but shout out to Lucas. I love you, big man. Always have, always will. Love you more than all the days and the nights. That's a fact. When my oldest was born, he was in the back seat of the car this one time, and I had to get him out of his car seat, and he was having a rough time or something. And he must have been, he was young. He must have been 2 or 3. And I just looked at him and I said, hey, I got you. I love you more than all the days and all the nights. And that's kind of stuck. I've had sorry, some things are hard, fam, but I had to, when I tell that little glimpse, I have to say this. The ex will say she came up with that, but no, she did not. That's Joe Scott, baby. Anyway, Lucas, love you, big man. Happy freaking birthday. You're 12. You only got 1 year left, and then you're a teeny bopper, son. Whew, it's going to be crazy. But cheers to that. Love you, buddy. And before we go, I just want to say I'm very excited for the upcoming week. Power Slap 18. Going to see all the crew again. I love it. We're all going to come together, get the updates on life, family, business, all that kind of stuff. And as far as like the things in the background with our own business, when everything's final, you look, the audience in this fantastic podcast will be the first to know. That I promise. And that might be a rough one. I think the only time I've cried on the podcast was talking about my dad. And I might be a little teary-eyed talking about how we got through this and next steps in front of us, if I'm being honest. All right. Just a quick one tonight. It's late. Let's have a good rest of the week, fam. And always remember, that person looking back at you in the mirror, they're going to be okay. Cheers. Good night.